I would say this isn't for the faint-hearted because
100%.
a lot of what I tend to see, you guys might see this as well with what people want to jump into presenting or content creating as well. It's at the end of the day, a lot of people get taught that, right, when I see the game or the content or the subject matter, I'm fine. But it's like, okay, how are you going to lead up to that point? You got to open a show.
Yep.
That isn't easy, right? Open the show, have good chemistry with your co-host or your talent crew, then talk about the game, keep people engaged, energy levels high, right? You got to come up with fresh ideas.
Difficult.
And it's like, right, but people go, they don't understand that part. And then it's like, how do you tell that to them without giving them too much advice and letting them figure out? Because they may develop an even better technique than you did when you were developing this. And then it's like, right, once you do that, try not to inflate your own ego, which is like the biggest and hardest thing to do. Because it's like, when you get all the praise, you're just like, yes, I'm the guy. And then when they don't,
the more events that you do and whatever else, and the more streams that you do, you find yourself surrounded by people saying how great you are.
Yeah.
You know, and then the real people who could potentially say, hey, Iain, that wasn't great. Don't say it as much.
Yeah.
Because you're surrounded by, let's say I've hosted an event and it went great. Everyone's slapping fives and whatever else. Whereas sometimes I just want someone to say, that second segment you did could have been better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's like, and then what happens now is that improves your self-analysis and your own critique.
Yeah.
And some people go, oh, you might be too harsh yourself. No, you're not, as egotistical as it sounds like, you're not saying what I want to hear.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. But then this goes back to perception is everything, where you can see the finite things and like the very specific things that like you could have improved on. Everyone else is like, great job, fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's just like, is
I think
that
that's so true. That's what I used to say to some of my, and it's completely different, but even like wanting to get better at a video game, for example, you can play with those friends that will tell you, oh yeah, great game, like you played really well.
Yeah.
And then you'll have those friends that will tell you the truth and be like, actually, you didn't play that good, and like, here's what you could have changed. And I often find myself like appreciating that feedback sometimes more.
Yeah.
Because you do start to have that like self-analysis and be like, okay, if I actually want to improve at this thing,
DIY,
here's the things I can do. So
for me, it's like I would sometimes wish I could have like a professional personal trainer, but for my
like a coach
presenting.
Or something. Yeah,
You know what? You're not the first person I've heard that from. They just bring them with them to the event, and they fully understand like what you're thinking, how you want
what
to
your
do
goals
this.
are,
right? And then they'll just come at you and they just it sounds like abuse, but it isn't. They're just like, listen, this was that was.
But
dope.
it's like, oh, sick, that's your PB, well done, but I want you to lift this next time. You know, it's like, what? I've got to go. I just smashed that. Do you want me to? That's what you want.
It's good though, because you don't get complacent. I feel like that complacency sometimes can
do you
be
know
quite
how
harmful.
easy it is to get complacent?
Of course.
It's wild.
Very.
Because
If you're getting regular work, for sure, it actually is.
Well, then, because I've seen people and I've worked with people where they're like, right, I will go, dude, we could have done this a little bit better, or maybe want to try. And it's not the message, it's how you say it these days. That's a whole nother topic entirely. But it's like, you want to get straight to the point.
Yep.
And I've only got 2 people that will go, JAMMERZ, like, stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. Like, stop doing this. Go back to this. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's switch up a little bit. But then I've seen people that go, well, I keep getting calls. I keep getting the gigs. What's the problem? I'm like, damn. It's like, I get it. I understand that perspective. I'm like, you really don't think that you can do some self-improvement in this line of work? Because I'm like, I want to stay in this position I'm at. Do you want to stay here?
Yeah.
And if they're not challenged enough, they're not going to do it. Yeah. And it's like, it's kind of scary, but then I understand that perspective. If everyone around you is telling, brilliant job, fantastic, keep going, and you keep getting calls, what is the problem?
Yeah. Everything dies in the comfort zone, man. That's the reality.
You might need to put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. All right, shall we? We were supposed to do our survival mode at the start of the show, but we're going to do it now.
Okay, let's do it.
We do a little segment called survival mode, which is essentially where you have to think of the last video game that you played. So, what was that video game?
Recently, just anything?
The last video game you played.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Oh,
okay,
nice. Yeah, a lot of people have been playing that actually. Now, imagine if you woke up in that game tomorrow as yourself, how would you survive? Or do you fancy your chances at surviving very well?
And we want you to talk us through it moment by moment.
If I woke up in the game tomorrow, would I survive? Well, where I am in the game now, if I woke up there, I'd have nearly 200,000 gil.
Yeah.
I'd have a lot of party members.
Okay, we're stacking.
And I'd be at the beach resort, chilling.
Oh, nice.
So I think I'd be okay, but I might splurge the money that I have in the bank account a bit
How
too
long? Would it
quickly.
take maybe 3 days, you think?
I'd probably take 2. I can be a little bit irresponsible, that kind of thing. If I had to kind of do the work that Cloud Strife did as a mercenary, I don't think I'd last that long. So I could see myself having a very luxurious week.
Yeah.
And then after that, you might see it's like, okay, game over. Start.
Game over.
I'm jealous.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
screwed.
That's the best one we've had so far when it
that's
comes to
very
like
good.
making it through. You've been to Hollywood. I know that you're going to be doing, I'm sure you'll be doing plenty of events this year. I know you did JAMMERZ 8 last year in Riyadh.
That was such an experience.
Yeah, I was there. We might have been there similar times. I was there for R6. You were there for Street Fighter, right? Or was it
You might have been there either a week before or a week after.
That's what's crazy. Like everybody's just boom, 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 like on a rotating wheel out there. But then this year, Esports World Cup seems pretty big as well, right? Do you think you'll be in and amongst it?
I would like to be, but I usually tell this to 2 very close friends of mine. Because some people, they kind of do the whole manifest thing. It's like, hey, you're going to be here. You're going to say, look, I try not to take my position for granted where I am now. And it's like, I know I'll have the job when I get the email.
Yeah.
And I know so many people where, as I get older, I start to see and hear what entitlement sounds like. And it's kind of upsetting a little bit. Sorry to be Debbie Downer. But it's, when I went to Hollywood, there was a little bit of controversy as to who should be there and who shouldn't be there.
Happens in all games, man.
And this is just part, and this is something I learned very, very quickly. It's just part of the work. Some people you feel should be there, not going to be there, and some people who you feel might not be there get the opportunity. It's all about who you know, how much work you put. It's various different reasons. And then before I went to Hollywood, people were like, yeah, you're going to be the cover. I said, we don't know that. And they said, no, but you deserve to be. I said, but why do you think I deserve to be there? And I said, anything you say now becomes subjective because that's completely different to what the production team or what they, and I usually say to people, it's like, look, you might objectively think that myself, you, or you might be suitable for a job, but you might not fit someone's vision. No matter how good you are, you might not fit someone's vision. Don't take it personal because do not bring personal feelings into business. I learned that really quickly as well.
Yeah.
And people are like, because word's starting to loom around about the Esports World Cup, and people are like, yeah, man, you're going to be there. I said, we don't know that. I haven't got an email about it or any sort of message.
Nobody has yet, but
I don't set myself up for
sure.
disappointment.
Yeah.
It's
so
not a
important.
good feeling.
if you're not there, you're still great.
And that's like, you just have to come real with that. And some people go, yeah, you're going to be there. Because I remember, so a week before JAMMERZ 8 last year was EVO. That's the biggest fighting game tournament like we have every year. And the lineup came out and my name wasn't there. And somebody rang me and said, JAMMERZ, why aren't you there? Talk to the production team. They're making a mistake. I said, relax, like calm down. He said, no, you deserve to be. I said, on whose accord? And I said, you seem more upset about this than I am. But little did he know, I was going to Riyadh the next week.
Yeah.
So then when they announced JAMMERZ 8 out, he rang me again. He said, oh. And I said, you need to calm down when people do get jobs or don't get jobs.
Well, that's one of the biggest toxic parts of esports, I think, is when certain names don't make the cut and every man, woman and dog jumps on the comments saying, where's this person, where's that person?
Some of it I do feel is justified. I do understand that. But then other times it's like, look, because some people go, you were just at Capcom Cup JAMMERZ. Why were you not at the Kumite? I might not be part of that guy's vision.
Yeah, but also, you can't do everything, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do everything. I can't believe I said that on camera.
But I do
It's
think
written
it's
down
cool.
now.
I do think it's cool that, you know, every summer now it looks like there's going to be a big spotlight shone on lots of different
legit,
games,
like
week to week.
Like you said, I would like to be there. If I get the call, I'm sure people know about it. If I don't get the call, all right, like 10 minutes of, okay, I didn't get it, but let's move on. It's like, right, how do we get there next year? Because I always ask myself 2 questions. If I'm at an event, and I've done this in Hollywood, I'll sit down right before one of my shifts and I'll go, why am I here? I just need to remind myself, why am I here?
Yeah.
Is it because I knew the right person? Did I put in the right amount of work? Why do you think you're here? And if you're not there and you're watching at home, you go, right, how do we get there next time? Do I need to speak to the right person? Do I need to put in a little bit more work in this area? So on and so, like, people aren't asking themselves the right questions to kind of stay.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes you just need to humble yourself.
Yeah.
It's just so difficult to do that.
Yeah.
So going back to your answer, sorry, it's like, I do want to be there. If they announce Street Fighter, we don't know if I'm going to be there unless I get an email.
Well,
Yeah, have they announced like what? Do the people know what kind of games are
Rocket
going to be?
League's going to be there.
Esports World Cup?
Overwatch.
Siege is going to be there.
Yeah, Siege is going to be there. So I think they have like a big lineup for certain things as well. Because even when I heard from last year when they said I think they were making a plan to come back, they had like big plans. And it's like, okay, everyone wants to be part of that.
Right.
And look, you've seen the treatment we got out there. That was like
Outrageous.
insane. The hotel, I don't know if you've seen any of it. Right. So I might show you a video afterwards. They bought out like half a restaurant for us.
My
And it
God.
was a buffet, full on catering every week. We had some of the talent. So they love red velvet cake. They had some of the talent run and get the red velvet cake. And when it ran out, they'd stand outside the chef's doors and they'd knock on the door. And it's like, yo, you got any more? The chef's like, no, it's done for the night. And it's like the treatment we got out there and then allowing us to perform and do our job was insane.